It was a quiet Wednesday afternoon in the coastal city of Monterey, California, when everything in Ethan Cole's life took an unexpected turn. Ethan, a diligent operations lead at a mid-sized renewable energy firm, had been running on fumes for weeks. Meetings piled on meetings, and the pressure of an upcoming product launch left him barely able to breathe. On a rare impulse, he decided to take an extended lunch break, just an hour to clear his mind. What harm could that do? Usually, Ethan stuck to his routine: a salad from the cafe next to his office, a walk around the block, and then back to his desk. But today, something pulled him in a different direction. On a nostalgic whim, he drove to Blue Harbor Cafe, a cozy, ivy-draped bistro nestled near the waterfront. It was the same place he and his wife, Clara, had visited during their early courtship. It had been years, but the smell of espresso and fresh pastries still brought a soft smile to his face. He chose a small table by the window and ordered his usual turkey pesto sandwich. As he waited, he pulled out his phone, scrolling through work emails with one eye and watching pedestrians pass with the other. For the first time in weeks, he felt calm until he saw her. At first, he thought he was mistaken. Clara was supposed to be teaching a class at a school across town, but there she was, laughing, holding hands with a man Ethan had never seen before. They paused just outside the cafe window, sharing a gaze and closeness Ethan hadn't witnessed in years. A cold wave of disbelief hit him. He froze. Could this really be happening? He watched, numb, as Clara and the stranger walked into a small boutique across the street. Ethan's sandwich arrived untouched. He considered brushing it off. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like, but the unease refused to fade. Driven by a mixture of dread and disbelief, Ethan paid his bill and followed. Keeping a cautious distance, he entered the boutique. Clara was modeling scarves and holding up clothes for the stranger, who nodded with a warm smile. Their chemistry was unmistakable, intimate, relaxed. They looked like a couple in love. Ethan's chest tightened. When they left the store and walked toward the Viridian Inn, a boutique hotel by the beach, Ethan trailed behind, his stomach in knots. He watched helplessly as they disappeared inside without a second glance. He stood motionless, on the sidewalk. The clarity of what he had just witnessed knocked the wind out of him. His wife was having an affair, and he'd uncovered it by accident during a simple lunch break. That evening, Ethan returned home to find Clara already there, preparing dinner. She smiled warmly, kissed him lightly on the cheek, and asked, "How was your day?" "Fine," he replied, masking the storm inside. They ate, made small talk, and went through the motions of normalcy. But Ethan's mind was miles away. He watched her, studied her, wondering how someone could so seamlessly slip between two lives. Over the next few weeks, Ethan became an observer in his own home. Clara's behavior, once brushed off as work-related stress, now appeared in a different light. Late-night grading, weekend trips with vague details, a guardedness around her phone. Still, he needed certainty. Ethan hired a private investigator. The waiting was unbearable, but he wanted proof, something undeniable. When the report arrived, it left no room for doubt. Photos, dates, descriptions. The man's name was Julian Ward, a fellow educator Clara had met at a conference. Their affair had been going on for at least 4 months. Private dinners, romantic weekends, midday meetups, carefully orchestrated moments Ethan had never known existed. He read it all, twice. The betrayal hollowed him. He felt as if someone had reached into his chest and pulled out everything he believed. But in that darkness, a quiet clarity emerged. He would confront her, but on his own terms. The next morning, Ethan brewed coffee and waited until Clara joined him at the kitchen table. His voice was steady, but his eyes held a storm. "Clara, we need to talk." She looked up, slightly puzzled. "Is everything okay?" He slid the folder across the table. "You tell me." Her hands trembled as she opened it. Within seconds, the color drained from her face. "Ethan, I don't," he said, holding up a hand. "Just tell me why." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I don't know. I never meant for this to happen. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, Ethan said softly. We built a life, Clara, and you threw it away. She cried, apologizing, trying to find the words that might make it better. But Ethan wasn't looking for comfort. He was looking for honesty and closure. In the days that followed, Ethan packed his things and moved into a small rented apartment by the marina. He filed for divorce. Clara reached out often, calls, messages, tearful voicemails, but he didn't respond. The pain was still too raw, and forgiveness felt light years away. Instead, Ethan began rebuilding. He returned to photography, a hobby he'd shelved years ago. He started hiking again, joined a local fitness group, and spent more time with his younger sister and her kids, who offered a light he hadn't realized he needed. Weeks turned into months. One Saturday morning, while walking along the coastal trail, Ethan saw a young couple playing with their children in the sand. The laughter, the love, it moved something inside him. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel bitterness. He felt hope. Hope that life, while unpredictable and painful, also offered new beginnings. He stood there for a while, breathing in the ocean air. Then, without looking back, he continued, walking toward the future. Ethan's story was one of betrayal, yes, but also of strength, of finding the courage to leave, the wisdom to heal, and the faith to believe that love, in some form, would come again.